Welcome everybody here, Brady from BGWX. We're back with another live stream breaking down the upcoming winter storm train that is about to happen. So hop along, we're going to break it down here, including the storms this week. How we doing, everybody? How we doing? Let's pull up the chat here. How we doing, everybody? How we doing? This is a legit storm. Yes. Thursday into Friday. Or Thursday, whatever, Thursday system. I mean, it's a legit, yeah, it's not going to be like a snowstorm, so to say, but a winter storm, yes. Because it's not going to be like we're going to talk about more in depth about why, but New York City is next Tuesday a legitimate threat? Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's get the thumbnail uploaded. All right, how we doing? We are live again on YouTube and X, whichever is your preferred destination. Let's get this pop in here, letting people filter in. A little more cold air would be great. Surface cold air is not the problem. It's going to be just above the surface. So low level, gosh, I don't like it actually. Low level, yeah, we're going to talk all about Tuesday. No, it's not too early. Totals, it's too early to talk. Yeah, but I do have. Listen, we're gonna break this all down. Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you agree. um, yeah, I mean, not to sound like not to sound rude, but regardless, if you agreed or not, there would be a concern for there is a concern for mixing above the surface with this system. So let's see how much of a see, hopefully that didn't come off too rude, but yeah, so we have a system that's currently actually just hammering the western US with a bunch of snowfall, and that's going to come across country, and this is what we're tracking next on Thursday. Oh, the pen tool. I knew I was forgetting something. Get my pen tool and we can get cooking here. Can get cooking. I'm telling you, there's a lot to talk about. Let's hope chat can get popping here over the next 5-10 minutes. Get people start filtering in here. There is a lot to talk about. A lot. All right. So here is North America zoomed out. Here's our system. Highlight it. Boom, boom. Ah, good old pen tool. Here's our system right here over the central western U.S. at this point, about 24 hours from now. And again, it's going to move very, very fast across the country. Like it's in the western U.S. and it's going to, yeah, it's going to track its way very, very fast. A lot of strung out upper level vorticity in DJAC. Always a good day when we're tracking. So a lot of upper level energy, 500 millibar vort. We're looking at here vorticity. A lot of upper level energy that gets strung out, ends up consolidating. But it's not this that's the main show. It's what gets out ahead in front of it. And we have cold air in place out ahead of this system, and as you can see, the main upper level energy is going to be passing toward north. So that is why mixing is a concern with this system. And you can see as it drops in, for the people that are closer, right, farther to the north and farther north of the upper level energy, that's your best chance to stay all snow further north. Now, for pretty much everybody, I think in central New England, southern New England, there is going to be concern for mixing here, in my opinion, with this system here on Thursday. I'm struggling to see a way out of it, at least some sort of mixing. So, unfortunately, it's going to be a slot fest. So, whatever snow you do see, as soon as that transition happens, try to shovel that stuff right away. Get it off. Like it's just, it is going to turn to concrete, slush, sleet, freezing rain. I'm not as big on the rain component for southern and central New England, but there is going to be a definite sleet and freezing rain concern with the system, and then especially for DC to New York City, huge freezing rain threat with this system, and even across into Ohio and Pennsylvania as well. There'll be a significant. I'd argue Pennsylvania will have the most significant freezing rain threat with this system. We can go 3K. Let's get the higher resolution. Um, Slurpee, yeah, uh, yeah, whatever you want to call it. Yes, it is going to be a slot fest. So um, this is almost too zoomed in. Gotta zoom out one more. Sorry. Uh, I know you can see it better, but I got to see the whole picture here. And so again, we have upper level energy that gets strung out ahead, and we'll see. And this will be the general theme of the setups upcoming here too. Is warm air moisture being tapped into from the Gulf of Mexico and off the Atlantic. So two moisture sources for our systems to come through. So reminder that any system that is able to consolidate, it's going to be it would be a very significant storm that's able to consolidate and wrap upper level energy, wrap in. It will be a very big storm just going forward, by the way. Um, you can see it looks like a slot fest on 500 and it shows on the surface. It is a slot fest. Slot fest at 500, slot fest at the surface. Uh, but you can see there's a lot of moisture with this system. Remember, this is going to be a thermally affected system here that we're working with. Hopefully, that came out sounding right. Meaning cold air, right? Meaning warm air. And it's what we talk about a lot with winter weather. And then you get your battle zone. And north of that, you're going to be able to get accumulating snow. To the south, slot fest. This is going to be a slot fest too, but even more of a slot fest in here. I really do think, I do, anytime we have warm air advection events, I've been burned enough times over the years where you learn that sleet line really, um, unless you're getting some pretty heavy snowfall rates, does not hold off. So, my guess is that it would advance. I'm not going to bet against the NAM a lot of times when it comes to these setups, in terms of the sleet line and how that advances. Tends to overdo it sometimes, but um, versus like an RGM that has, you can see how much cold air, really long time, and it's like 3 to 6 inches for like even like Connecticut almost, and even down into New York City. So I'm curious to see what it is with the P-type maps. I've noticed in multiple where you can see the sleet overriding and getting out ahead. There's like snow under, so I would be curious to look a little bit more at the thermal at the at the thermals there on soundings. But you can see RGM showing a colder scenario. I wouldn't buy this 100%. I doubt. I would significantly doubt. RGM's trying to show like here stays all snow. I would highly doubt that. I would lean against that. You'll go. I love to favor when we can favor the snowy solutions as much as right. We all want the snowy solutions, right? We want to favor it. We want to do all we can. I want to, right? You all want to, but reality is you have to put your foot down when it comes to making the forecast. And um, I'm gonna lean against this. This kind of what my gut tells me is that we're gonna have definitely some sleet concerns with this. That warm nose advancing pretty quickly. So maybe a quick burst in New York City, coating to 1 to 3 inches in New York City is possible. Same with northern Jersey and into Hudson Valley as well, and into southwestern Connecticut. And then we start looking at potential. So what's a good middle ground? I want a middle ground between RGM and NAT. Dun, dun. It's HRR. What does this look like? Let's take a peek here. What's my season average? I average about 60, 65 inches of snow, roughly, on average. Jack. This is close. I would lean against the freezing rain profile. I would lean a little bit more sleet in the interior as well. Um, I would lean more sleet in here. I like this kind of close. I like the general idea of the HRR. I think that's it. I think this is a fine idea where it's 3 to 6 hours maybe of moderate to heavy snow, and then you switch over to sleet kind of for I'm talking north of 84 kind of this area, and then here maybe 2 to 4 hours of good moderate to heavy snow, and then you switch over. All right, not going to be insane ratios. Are school cancellations possible on Thursday? For DC, you are going to switch to rain. That's the thing in DC, but possibly if the CAD does hold. But with this, I think this is a fine idea. It's a little blotchy. Whatever. General idea. You stay snow, and then you switch over. You're able to get a good front end thump, and then many switch over. Many switch over. I think this is a generally a good idea. It actually really over maybe might be Plain Valley, even gets the sleet line up to here. So that'd be that would be very very as first I've seen on guidance, but it's certainly possible. I mean, the warm nose on these events can definitely tend to surge, really plow through, really plow through the snow line, and it can oftentimes just really limit your potential and your ceiling here with the snow forecast. But given how we are going to be well thermally driven in this event, good. Um, uh, we will have some decent forcing to work with here. So I would expect there would be some significant snowfall rates during this time. Maybe half inch to an inch per hour rates through this event. Maybe inch and a half an hour at max. With this, probably not a 2 inch per hour snow here. If you do, then that's how you overperform. But likely half inch. I have to look closer at soundings tomorrow to get a better idea. And I also will be doing a live stream with someone else tomorrow, and we will be going live tomorrow night as well, just in general. But we will. We're busy times call for more content, more BGWX content. So, and I love making it. So be on the lookout for that again tomorrow evening and tomorrow night. Likely will be multiple live streams. One will be on another channel, a familiar face that I've been on before, and another on mine. So not guaranteed yet for tomorrow evening, but be on the lookout for that as well. But I like this general idea, the HRR. I really wouldn't bet against, honestly, the sleet line being able to advance all the way this far. Never bet against the warm nose. Never a fan of betting against the warm. Dynamic cooling might be able to hold off here in southern New England and New York City, maybe just enough so that you can get a good burst. But I wouldn't be shocked, And I know New York City, you're hoping. Northern Jersey, you're hoping. Northern Jersey might have a little bit better chance. I know you're hoping. I would sincerely not. I would sincerely lean away from being able to capture significantly on this event. Coding to two, 1 to 3 is kind of my max for New York City. Not a great storm to be able to really accumulate. Like you'll thump and you'll probably get excited, and you should because snow is snow. But do not get your expectations up too high with this. But right, stack up the seasonal any way you can, so you'll be able to do that. Just it might be be prepared for a very quick transition to sleet. Again, once we start moving into Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, you should be able to get at least a few hours in, even to right. This is not going to discriminate elevation. This warm nose here. No, we don't really have people living at about 800 millibars in the atmosphere. That's very high up in the atmosphere. We don't have any. We don't have any tall enough mountains really, besides Mount Washington. So that's about it. And that will allow places even in southeastern Mass to be able to get a thump of snow as well with this event. But you will be further east from the storm and not higher latitude. So that doesn't mean you're going to get any more special treatment, so to say. But northeast Mass, my favorite for this storm in southern New England or central New England would be here across northeastern Mass and central New England. Just because you'll be able to hold on the cold air a little bit longer at around 850 millibars. We should take a look at it. Let's take a peep our warm nose here. Let's take a peep at this. Here we go. Remember, hit that like if you are in the YouTube chat, and if you're here in X, appreciate you just coming in. That'd be interesting. That's one way you could help. If you're able to get some precip out ahead, that would help for sure. You're definitely able to get some more over. This is one way you could be able to verify the forecast here. And there's our nice little Old Spice sponsorship there. If we are able to get a little bit overrunning, and we saw it with the last overrunning event we had around January 6th in the DC area for our mid-Atlantic folks. Of course, remember that pretty big snowstorm for them down there. And one thing you could be able to do is be able to get a little bit more overrunning precip out ahead. If you are able to get some more out ahead or in front of the initial main batch, that will allow you to be able to maybe add a little bit more. Again, it probably wouldn't be very heavy snowfall, but would be able to allow you, if you're able to get a little bit more overrunning, to be able to verify your forecast nicely. So we'll keep an eye on that potential. See how radar is looking tomorrow and tomorrow night with that. But let's take a sounding here, kind of the thump. Yeah, definitely not great ratio snow here, but lots of lift present here in the dendritic growth zone. Again, not perfect, not super well saturated, honestly, in the dendritic growth zone, which I don't love. Well saturated, not as well, not super well saturated. And you can see the warm nose here from about 700 to about 800. And you can see really dynamic cooling doing everything it can from the heavier rates to stop that warm nose from kicking in, even though you're 26 at the surface. So really, I think it turns into, honestly, it might be mostly snow and then dry slot. It could be as well. That's very possible in these events. Is you kind of just snow until you dry slot, and that's very possible as well. But it will be a mix when you get into that. Once those heavier rates let up across the area, it doesn't matter where you are. Once those heavier rates let up, there's no doubt you can see where the warm nose is, that dynamic cooling will no longer be able to do its magic. You can see here. I mean, you're living on the edge. I mean, absolute thumpage. Don't get me wrong. This is likely very heavy snow. So I will say maybe 1 to 2 inch per hour rates are possible. I spoke too. Brady spoke too soon and should have looked at the soundings first. That is very good snow growth. This is definitely a little bit better saturated than the sounding over there. Look at this sounding here out of Western Connecticut, right? Um, Tethering the line, even if you're going over a little bit on the sounding, just barely, oftentimes dynamic cooling can help kind of win out, and maybe you're getting a few sleet pellets that mix in. And it's pretty much just all heavy snow. This is 100% all heavy snow right here, right in front of that sleet line, and just thumping away. I mean, -6 Omega, great lift in the dendritic growth zone here. Um, Again, solid upper level cold air, but then that warm nose there, definitely holding on for dear life, trying to stay all snow, and you're able to thump, and then you probably the next frame here you can see that's when boom, that's when you switch to sleep probably, and even then that will be probably a snow sleep mix right there. You see how you're barely tethering that line, depending on how heavy your rates are. Um, Not great. Not super well saturated though at the top of your dendritic growth zone, which I don't love as well. So that would not be a great snow sounding regardless. So probably more sleet than snow there. But you can kind of just get a picture here for what's going on. I mean, thumpage is going to occur. You know, it's definitely going to occur. You can see there's some very heavy. That's actually definitely a little bit more supporting for a little bit better ratios. You see, the longer, the less that warm nose is really pressing against that 0 degree line, the better the ratios will be here. You can see very solid lift, obviously, in the dendritic growth zone as well. Let's try to get a Boston sounding here as well for my Boston folks, and we'll explain why for New York City and Pennsylvania the ice concerns as well, and down to DC as well. We can take some soundings. I'm trying to get it just that one swing and a miss, but let's get a Boston. It's close enough. That might be freaking on the ocean. Let me get hold up. We'll do Northeast Mass, close enough. Not great lift on that specific sounding, but you're based on all the other soundings I've taken, it's error. So something's going on right now with some of the soundings here on the NAM. You can see the error. So it's not loading in how I would like, unfortunately. So we'll switch to the HRR. OZ, and start peeping some of these soundings here. And I would lean more NAM HRR than I would RGM for tomorrow. Oh geez, HR was way more all snow than I thought. So maybe not as much HR. I mean, let's peep the soundings. That is all snow. HR was super cold. It did not look like that on the OZ. And there you can see the thumpage there. There's a better view of the sounding. HR a little bit less prevalent with the warm nose and some of these soundings. I would lean a little bit more closer to the NAM, to be honest. Um, so I thought the HRR, I just assumed on the weather bell P-type map and assumed wrong, but or maybe I didn't. Maybe it's just the dry slot moving through right away, more prevalent. So I would keep an eye on that. Am I being thrown for a loop here? No. NAM just doesn't have the dry slot quite as much. NAM has more precip kind of backfilling, so they're actually not too far off. You know, several hours of a front end thump. It's generally the same idea. So even though some of these it's all snow on this, it's really not that much longer on this sounding, for example, or on this this run. So it's don't over it. Um, I would lean against initially like that. Well, you'll win out. This is all snow on on this sounding here. If the HR were right, 100% all snow, not even close. 30 degrees, the surface obviously, and you're not even actually pressing against it. We're probably about a degree away from switching to all sleet. And you can see you have over -1 Omega throughout the dendritic growth zone as well. So very solid snow sounding here from the HRR for New York City, Jersey area. Get Long Island here. Again, not showing a lot of lift on that sounding. So that would I would be concerned about sleet in that warm nose for when it's not. When there's not great lift, I would be very concerned about the warm nose prevailing. And then let's take a look at some of these soundings here. Again, we'll see how long the warm nose can kind of hold on here in DC, but this is definitely rain sounding here and maybe a heavy freezing rain sounding. Look how far you come over. So that's timing on the storm in Northeast Connecticut. Yeah, we'll talk about. I'm going to talk about the freezing rain threat first, and then we can talk about timing and totals right next for sure. And here's your 0 degree line, meaning this is your freezing line, right? This is an air parcel all the way throughout the atmosphere, and you can track that red line. It's tracking the air parcel, the temperature, and the dew point line you can see in the green. And we're looking at that most importantly in that 0 degree line is the freezing line. So you go over and then you come back for a while, 31. So that might even be borderline sleet, possibly even. But it's your when your warm nose goes over for long enough, comes back, refreezes completely, then it's going to be sleet at the surface. But when that air parcel comes over the mix line for too long, over the freezing line, and then comes back a little bit later than that. Comes back later, it's close to here. This is a borderline sleet, freezing rain, in my opinion. Then you start worrying about rain because that not enough time for that water droplet to be able to refreeze. And so what happens is now it's very cold rain and the surface is below 32. So now it freezes on surface, on contact. And we know we talk about this every time with these events. So I would be this. There's definitely some classic, freezing rain. This is definitely a classic freezing rain look to a lot of this. I'm very skeptical of the HRR being able to hold on to snow. I mean, it's not even really snowing that much. It just dry slots completely. So that might be something to keep an eye on, that you're not even going to snow for that much before you just full on dry slot. So that's kind of those are the two scenarios at play here. But I'm going to go back to the NAM because I think that might be a little bit closer. Get an idea here. Yeah, this is a freezing rain. You see how long, see how warm we get here, right? And how long it takes to come back until the lower levels of the surface here. That's kind of allowing, even then we're not super well saturated. And that would honestly help. The less saturated the freezing rain droplet, the easier it is for it to accumulate on contact. And now this comes back, but not enough time for it to refreeze 30 to 30, 31 degrees at the surface. Now that's freezing rain concern here. Probably not more than, yeah, I don't think it's a full-on ice storm for a lot of people, but definitely not widespread at least. But there is definitely a freezing rain concern here. Um, with this storm, and again, front end thump, and then sleet, freezing rain, dry slot for the rest, and rain for coastal I-95 at the very end potentially. North of here, you stay likely all snow. And then, Maine's able to hold on for a duration of the event. You mix dry slot maybe on the backside at the very end. But for the most part, you should be able to hold on to at least a front end thump for a lot of southern New England and New England first. And then that freezing line kind of works. One thing you do have working for you here is it's not a strong surface low. So you are not going to be necessarily pulling that, you're not necessarily going to be pulling that warm air completely dry. You're not driving it up into the upper level energy at such a stronger rate if you had, a shap of the upper level energy. So that's one thing you might be able to get going. So maybe the HR is onto something here with more of a snow to dry slot scenario versus um, a good amount of mix and freezing rain, which is because not many people want that, honestly. And remember too, it's sleet snow accumulation. So a lot of people when they switch to sleet, they stop measuring. Um, and oftentimes sleet kind of just compacts the snow, and you don't really see any accumulation. But if you do see sleet, it does count as snow accumulation. It's not like a technicality or whatever. I guess technically it maybe is, but snow and sleet accumulation is part of your seasonal total. It's part of your snow measurement that you have. So always keep that in mind. Just sleet doesn't accumulate at a crazy rate. It's more 3 to 1 of a rate sleet typically versus 10 to 1 snow on average. So that's keep that in mind as well for those that don't know. You can measure snow. You can always tag me in your sleet accumulation posts as well for those that are going to see some. So New York City, Hudson Valley, Connecticut, I will be able to get some sleet as well. Maybe not enough to actually add really too much of accumulation, but certainly at least something. So that's kind of and then in terms of yes, Nam, yes, Bart, crazy Uncle Nam. It's I feel like the Nam can sometimes highlight the warm nose pretty good on some of these when other models miss out. I would kind of take a Nam HR combo where I would say a little bit more of a dry slot than what the Nam shows. Um, and the sleet line advancing a little bit more than what the HRR shows. That's kind of where I would lean a little bit. So, in terms of totals, again, we talked about it a little bit briefly. Um, clean the slate here a little bit. Again, one way you can overperform, and one way that places further south can see some snow originally, like we talked about. It would honestly even be late tomorrow night into Thursday morning. You get more overrunning precip out ahead into the cold air where your column is better fit for snow versus mix. And that will allow you to be able to get just some snow accumulation, especially places in here like Philly, the Central Jersey, South Jersey. That will give you an opportunity for at least some snow accumulation if you are some. And the same with New York City in this area and to southern New England, being able to get some overrunning precip farther out ahead could certainly help. Being able to kind of cash in a little bit more and be able to see some a little bit extra snow accumulation, not necessarily extra, but just higher range of totals, so to say. For totals, again, New York City, I would say about coding to 2, 1 to 3, 1 to 3 at max, kind of likely. And then I would say once we start moving into here, kind of more of a 1 to 4-ish range. Maybe this thumpage here, kind of maybe be able to, be able to extend a little bit more, and you'll be able to get a little bit more into some of these areas that have a little bit more time. So we'll keep an eye on that. Remember, the warm nose is not going to discriminate for elevation, so that's not your concern here with this storm. And sometimes the valleys can actually do better in these scenarios. But so like Hartford, I would say, 2 to 4-ish, maybe in Hartford, 2 to 5, maybe in Hartford. And then as we move north, I would say Worcester, again, 2 to 5, 3 to 6 in Worcester. Boston, 2 to 5, 3 to 6 is where I would lean now. I don't really see a lot of 6+ potential with this, to be honest. Quick duration, time frame, and you dry slot. And you mix and dry slot. That's kind of the plan here. And then really, for this region, for more this region, and then it's more 3 to 6, 4 to 8 up here into central and northern New England, and that's kind of the general idea. PA, northeastern PA, coding to 2 inches, I would say, coding to 2, 1 to 3, and then Hudson Valley 1 to 4. I would say Hudson Valley can actually do pretty well with some of these. So I will say lower Hudson 1 to 4, and then once we move higher up and we start getting closer to the capital district, start moving up the river more of a 2 to 5 in this area. And again, more 2 to 5, 3 to 6. Once we start moving north of 84 here. Southeastern Mass, Cape Cod, 1 to 4, 2 to 5. Again, not as significant. More southeast Mass has a little bit better chance for higher totals, and then closer to the coast, more of a 1 to 3, 2 to 4 for those areas. Would you say spring looks like? Starts moving in Thursday morning for many, late Wednesday night for Mid-Atlantic, and then start to snow for many, even for places into southern parts of the Northeast. And then we'll see that sleet line advance, and so that Thursday morning commute, man, is going to be rough potentially for people from New York City into Connecticut. Massachusetts could be a really tough call with that commute. I saw some stuff like how maybe it starts and then you'll be able to get out after it's done. I would really for Southern New England, like this, to me, this is a cancel. This is a not play around. This is kind of a cancel school. Don't I'm way beyond my high school year, so I don't have any stake in snow days anymore. Sadly, for that, wish I could get snow days, but I wouldn't play around with this. I mean, you're gonna switch even after you'll snow and then you dry slot after. I just hate the timing. The timing for this for kids to be stuck there with the snow and then the freezing rain and then the sleet. Hartford, Connecticut, around what time? Thursday morning commute, probably 7 to 10 a.m. This starts in Hartford. Hartford around 7 to 10, around 7 to 10 a.m. in Hartford. More probably 7 to 9ish. 7 to 10 a.m. probably around there. Maybe a little bit earlier at the most, but probably somewhere around there. And then a little bit later of a start time once we start moving to North Shores and New Hampshire, Maine, more of a 9 to noon time frame for the starting of the snow. So I really wouldn't play around. New York City, New York City will switch to rain, so that might help for concerns there for school. So, but really, I think in my opinion, maybe coastal Connecticut isn't going to be able to switch to rain enough and not have to worry about it as much. But for once you start getting to interior Connecticut, northern Rhode Island, Massachusetts, especially Connecticut with the morning commute, I don't think you mess around with this. I think you just cancel. And if it were just snow, then maybe you'll be able. If this was just snow, I would say, early dismissal or a full day at school. To be honest, I would say for this, but when you start throwing in that ice concern after the snow comes in, that's what you don't want to see school buses on the roads trying to transport kids, along with the other people at work that are going. If you can try to work from home on Thursday, do your best. If you have that opportunity, or you can negotiate that, do your best you can with that. because it's going to be an ice really really anywhere in here on Thursday. If you can work from home, um, do your best, whatever you can. Just give yourself plenty of extra time if you do have to be out in this to move from spot to spot. Remember, once the ground gets coated in ice, you have no traction on your wheels. Doesn't matter what kind of wheels you have. You have no give to your surface really, and you're just try to let off the brake easy. Don't step on the gas hard. Slow acceleration, slow brake. That's always the key when you're on the road. You don't want quick stops and quick changes in direction. You don't want to be able to give anything more leverage for the ice to win, so to say. So, highly recommend that you can be able to stay off the roads, during this time. I have a good amount of experience driving in some of these, I've been, through lake effect storms and freezing rain, black ice. New England, you build up a good tolerance, um, and just again, just being as careful as you can. If you do have to be out in these conditions, come back in the commute after. It's really too try to avoid the sides of the roads if you can too. That's a lot of times when it stacks up, the freezing rain, the sleet on the sides there, especially if there's any snow meltage as well. Always try to avoid the very edges of the road if you can, and just be safe. That's my best advice if you do have to be out in these conditions, during this time. Just kind of some experience that I've kind of stacked up here of driving. So this is the idea for Thursday. Um, not a crazy snowstorm, but definitely a significant storm, a significant impact storm because of the ice threat that comes along with this. It's not like in seeing some stuff. Don't compare this to the Clipper. Do not compare this to the Clipper. This is an actual winter storm here that's going to have significant impacts for sure. Not stop the world, but it's one of those. If you're not careful, all of a sudden you got a pile up on your hands, and it could have been prevented. It's one of oftentimes, honestly, it's the events that aren't that not to say highly hyped up, but it's the ones that aren't covering the front page of the news that often cause the most trouble. It's the smaller events that can oftentimes cause the most havoc. Yep, and that's a great segue. We were just about to transition. Hey Brady, have you seen the new WPC? Great, crazy stuff for day 7. I have not. We can look at that. We can look at that a little bit later, for sure. Though American weather. Appreciate you coming in. Appreciate all of you coming in here on this fine Tuesday evening. It's technically Wednesday now, but I'm going to call it Tuesday. It's Tuesday evening. It's Central Time, so we're going to go with that. Let's go to Weather Bell. Slide back here. And now we get to break down very similar setup, in terms of the meteorology behind it, but the specifics are definitely different with this setup. So get a quick sip of water here. Thanks, good info. Yes, listen. I've had some experience. I'm not a professional, but as an amateur storm chaser, I will say I've definitely had some experience driving in some tougher conditions. And best thing I can always say, especially the biggest thing I've taken away is the pressure on the brake and the gas is critical. Not a lot of people really think of that. And when they see, especially if you can, sometimes people stop hard on the brakes. Do your best you can. If you can make a lane change, a slow maneuver of a lane change when you see someone slam the brakes, because if you slam, you have a worse chance versus switching lanes and slowly maneuvering out of it if you're able to safely. So I've able to gain some experience, with some of that stuff. So the less pressure and the slower the pressure you can apply to your brakes and your gas, the better. And 2 hands on the steering wheel as well. So then when you do lose a little bit, control it, right back. All right, so here's what we got coming up here. Uh, I know we usually don't talk about we we should more talk about the human life impacts that you guys need to care about and most of you care about versus the actual totals in the meteorology. But I love the meteorology, so that's why we dig into that and oftentimes. But let me send out a quick tweet here saying we're breaking down Sunday storm. And let's break this bad boy down. Alrighty. So I'll say that's again similar setup as you can see. We're gonna zoom out again enough so you can still see. Let me move this up actually. There we go. Perfect. Like that a lot better. I do like to see the Gulf of Mexico. It's the only thing. It's all right. We can kind of slide here, but I need the slider. Sorry. I know it's easier for you to see, but I got to zoom out. I got to be able to see the whole picture. My OCD. So with this storm, again, similar setup here, where cold air in place out of front of this system, and again, another active storm track, cross country snowstorm here, and warm nose will be prevalent still, but you can see Gulf of Mexico again on tap, Atlantic will be on tap out ahead, overrunning moisture, warm nose advancing, thin line of mix to snow out there in the Midwest. So that's kind of the idea there, and it starts moving across. Doesn't matter whatever model you look at. And the key here with this system, a little bit though, is the upper level energy will be a little bit more connected to the main upper level low versus the last event. See here, see how it's a little bit more run out way out ahead. This system will be closer to the upper level low. And the key with this system is the more we can press on this system while holding back more energy, the higher the ceiling you're going to have for this. So system, we can slide to the P-type map just so we can see the surface setup. Here is you'll have your Western Canadian, right? Your Western Canadian high here. Right? High pressure dominated more from the west, but this extends out here, and so you have a weaker high present, 1024 high, and this kind of sets the stage of being able to lock in your cold air, another CAD-like system, a little bit stronger of a low pressure potentially, a system just a little bit more organized of an upper level look, more importantly, rather than the surface low pressure. And what this is going to be able to do is be able to provide a more stronger storm overall in general. Um, this will likely be a very dynamic system upcoming this weekend, a significant storm for sure. Definitely more snow impacts with this one. This is likely going to be an all-out snowstorm for a good amount of people. And again, one thing you do have working in here is you do have a little bit more of a wrap up with this system as it's moving through. You see, as it gains latitude here, this thing is going to be an all-out bomb. I mean, look at that 495 freaking height line. This thing ends up wrapping up. Absolute beast. And the tail end of the confluence sets the stage for next week. And don't get too caught up on the surface maps. That storm's coming, by the way. That thing is coming. We don't know where yet, but one of the rare times we can look 6-7 days out and be like, someone is very likely going to get a storm, in my opinion, out of this. And if it were to get completely suppressed, then it would just switch to a couple days later, probably. So keep an eye on. We're going to talk about that system as well down the line here. But again, what we do here is Gulf of Mexico moisture pulled into the system off the Atlantic as well, and we have a upper level low that is wrapping up at this point. And again, the more we can kind of press on this system while holding back our upper level, our energy, the better, the better. So that will have to do with more of the overall synoptic setup. And you can kind of see here when the run changed. You can see here we're holding back a little bit more upper level energy back here, pressing on the system a little bit, and so not able to be as curled. Um, and also that would be a little bit more separated from the upper level energy that's out ahead of this system. Again, another overrunning event, but you can see how that upper level energy does start to wrap and consolidate. So that's what turns this into a significant event. I have not looked at the euro, so why not? Let's freaking take a look. Let's take a look actually for the first storm first, quickly. Just a little bit more amplified from 12Z. Same idea though, front end thump to mix. Again, you see these hours, it's lighter mix for all those hours that it does happen. So same idea, same idea. But we can picture this out for this weekend now. All right, oh boy, Euro is looking interesting here. Let's take a peek. Yep, I like that look. See it dropping a little bit more. We are raising the height lines a little bit, though. We are raising the height lines a little bit. But I do like the more pressed down look on this, more tighter wrap. I do like that. Let's look at 700. Look at that. That's going to be a strong band. That's definitely a mix for sure. And then once that wraps up, look at that. Then it turns into an all-out snowstorm for Maine, Nova Scotia. So what did that look like compared to last run? There's 12Z. Not super different. P-type map still rolling out there. You see that turns into a beast of a snowstorm. Then that does turn into a beast of a snowstorm. So that's why the more we can kind of press this upper level energy down, the better. Because I mean, just look, your upper level low moves overhead. Anytime you do that, that's going to call for mixing concerns. One thing you do have working is it's working out flat, so it's not. That's one thing I kind of like better is, even though this is definitely more tucked, it's definitely sinking in a little bit more, this upper level energy. So I don't think it's going to shift the mix line too much from run to run, but that's a more of a specific detail far out. The point is, models are going to change back and forth with this, but another likely front end thumb system, and this one will be able to pack more of a punch as well. That's the key with this system. There's a little bit more to it, and there's also there's also likely going to be what was I going to say? There we go. And there's likely going to be more widespread impacts with this as well. Just bigger storm, more Euro is stronger with this system by a good amount as well. That's one of the key differences. Euro could be a little too over amplified, possibly. Take it a little bit of a middle ground. So again, we'll see here. Kind of the train tracks start setting themselves up. Upper level energy still not on shore yet, so that's one key thing for sampling. And again, these move across quick, so that upper level energy will start coming on shore Friday, and we will get a better idea then train tracks are set up, things become a lot clearer then. But the Euro AI, for example, as well, pinpointing the storm from 18Z, which has done pretty phenomenal in this range. Compare it to Euro, you can see similar look again, showing that front end thump, and then kind of switching over. I don't mind showing the P-type map here, but definitely not as strong as a system as the Euro has. Kind of a little bit closer to the GFS in that regards, and actually has a really good front end thump here on the Euro AI with this system. Skip our sponsorship here. Shout out Peyton Manning. Not my favorite quarterback, but very good quarterback, obviously. Hall of Fame, all-time great. All right, so you're able to get a really solid front end thump and actually stay all snow for a lot of people too. Kind of north of 495 and north of Boston, you're actually able to stay pretty much all snow for the duration of the event. So that would certainly increase your ceiling here. You can kind of see the GFS, do a similar thing and stay pretty much all snow for a duration of the event. Is our warm nose at 700? I gotta look at that. That is certainly possible. Where is it? 850. That's 850. Okay, you can see there. But GFS, you stay pretty much all snow for the duration of the event. We kind of saw it. The Euro was a little bit too over amplified around this range with this system as well. Shows that cutoff with the sleet line as much as it does some of these. Again, it gives you a general idea. Where's the 700 for it? 100 just sets up at the end there. So I would say with this system, I would favor. Let me clean the map here a little bit. Does Euro AI give me 700 Vord as well? Oh, that would be, I wish. Give me 850. Not great, but I prefer 700. Let me go back. So I'm not. I will take a middle ground, kind of to the GFS Euro AI and in Euro. So I'll give again. I really like the 8 Euro AI's performance this year. So I like that general idea in terms of. I mean, look at that 850 band. That wah is going to kick in, man. Solid front end thump there. Solid. Before 700 gets cooking over Maine and Nova Scotia. But again, I like the general idea of the OAI, GFS, Euro combo for this system. So I would say, right, and again, it's not going to specifically be like this. So it's a P-type map that's 4 days out. So take it with salt. But honestly, GFS may not be a bad depiction right now. We'll see as we get closer. A lot of changes to come. But I would favor so it's honestly not too far off from the last system in terms of similar spots, to be honest. But I would favor again north of 84 for the most snow. North of 84, especially north of 90, kind of as well, for the most snow with this system. A very solid front end thump at a minimum for a lot of these places here across Massachusetts and northern Connecticut, northern Rhode Island, and even into Hudson Valley some as well. And then I would say front end thump potential north of Philly, kind of is where I would lean for now. I'll give some benefit of the doubt Again, with this, you could get again overrunning system, so you could get some overrunning precip out ahead into the cold air to be able to kind of make out it. But again, I would say north of Philly is kind of where I would lean for front end thump potential with this, and this would be a more prominent front end thump, more 1 to 3, 3 to 6 plus potential here, especially in somewhere like New York City, versus I would say more coding to 2, 1 to 3 in my opinion tomorrow for New York City with the system, and I would lead. I think this is more of a general idea, and this is somewhere further east too. Further east will benefit because the upper level energy will start wrapping better, and you'll be more efficiently be able to mix out that warm nose, so to say. That's not the greatest terminology, so to say, to use for that, but the warm nose becomes less of a concern for eastern New England, as you can see, as the upper level energy starts consolidating. Look what happened to the warm nose. You see it collapse right there. See that warm nose collapse pretty much completely, and then it becomes less of a concern. So that's why with this storm, you could see somewhere like Boston and Southeast Mass get more snow than Hudson Valley. Isn't always the case with a lot of these with a lot of these systems that that favor more interior. But again, it would still be a potential for a very solid front end thump here. And then again, we look at mixing concerns. Really doesn't matter what model you look at. Front end thump and mixing concerns are going to be very prominent. But even on the year, look what happens. You see it collapses that mixing line very quickly. It's just a matter of where exactly that happens. Just a matter. I mean, it's really not that different from the only difference is it's more organized from 12Z to OZ. That's about it. It's really about it. That's kind of the general idea. And then in terms of accumulation potential with this, there's definitely 6 plus accumulation. Your best shot for 6 plus with this event for now, again, north of 84. North of 84 is your best 6 plus potential. More snow in Connecticut than this Thursday snow? Yes, more snow everywhere with this weekend system. Then I would highly lean. Now we see that warm nose. We start seeing solutions start really popping north here, and models start leaning towards there. Then I might readjust my thoughts. But until then, I'm gonna go out and say that I would say north of 84 is the best shot for 6 plus inches with this snow, and this would be more pack a punch. This front end thump here. This is kind of something that would uh, more than just be more of a new. It would be definitely more than a nuisance. More than a nuisance event for sure. To answer your question, correct, yeah. And then we transition, but again, that turns into a beast of a freaking cyclone, man. Beast. And then we transition to next week. Oh, Euro. Look at that. Freaking. You want to take a look at that P-type map already? Gorgeous. Look at that thing. Freaking beast of a run right there. So yeah, that would be a freaking hell of a system right there. So with this, again, there's some variance here in the pattern. So there's always a chance for an inside runner here, and always a chance for a suppression. With just variance between from storm to storm, not consistently, just from storm to storm, there is some variance here. Kind of like the domino effect. A more amplified storm followed by a little bit more suppressed storm, and then maybe middle ground, and so on. Just for example, not saying that specifically is going to happen, but here's one thing I will say: this storm next week is coming. It's just a matter of what exactly it's going to look like. what the upper level energy dynamic is going to be. Um, I would not look. I would not look at a single freaking like P-type map. Even like the Euro AI. The Euro AI is like all over the place as well. So like Euro AI just went full windshield wiper effect from basically yesterday to where it is now with this system as well. It just completely like just it's struggling. It's for example, all the models are struggling with the P-type maps. This I'm telling you, this they're it, whether it's Tuesday or Thursday or Friday, this thing is coming. I'm telling you, the storm is coming. I know it's like 7, 8, 9 days out or whatever. There is great ensemble support for this, and it's easier to pinpoint as well. Your upper level energy is going to drop in off the Pacific here. It's gonna drop in over the Western U.S. and then this thing is going to be able to get enhanced. And you're still going to have Atlantic ridging present. You still have your Atlantic ridge present here in the Southwest Atlantic and Gulf of Mexico. Uh, and what's going to happen here is this is going to come on. This is going to kind of erode this ridge a little bit, so to say, and kind of plow its way through. And then boom, all of a sudden you get your snowstorm potential. You wouldn't look at that. Nobody would look at this 10 days out and be like, it's a major snowstorm coming. But the setup is very much calling for it because you're going to drop your upper level energy over the Western U.S. here. And then this is going to just come just like the other storms, but this one's going to have a little bit more dig to it. And there's going to be a little bit more, there's likely a better shot for, a more, the exact terminology I don't want to say specifically of like saying that it's more consolidated, but it's like is a stronger punch of a system. There's more to it. There's more dig to this system, a little bit more latitude gain. Potentially could be suppressed a little bit, but what you do with this system is you drop it in across the country, and now you allow it to start, and you're gonna have you might have even better cold air in place too. That's another thing as well. A little your 510 height line right here over southern Canada. So we get our Twisted Tea sponsorship here in the background for our music. But you can see that low of Arctic air come in and kind of set the stage. Boom. So now you kind of have, your polar vortex stretching event starting to happen at this point. So then you have some really dark cold air in this. This thing's not this. I don't think this thing is going to full. I don't see this being a full inside runner too. I don't see that with this system. This system wraps up. Your polar vortex presses down. I mean, this is where I think it starts to open up a little bit more for a less front end thump storm kind of. This is where things kind of start to open up a little bit. Boom, this storm treks across and follows something along this path. I'm telling you, listen, I hate going on a limb so far out. I don't know, like, you guys know this. For me, it's like I go back and forth. I'm trying to break all this stuff down, and then once we start getting in tracking range, that's when things come clear. I'm telling you that this is the big prize down the road. There might be an even bigger one way down the road. That's not even it's like roughly being shown on guidance, but not really yet. There's something way down the line. I alluded to it tonight on X. For those of you that saw that. So, I've had some posts saying January. You hyped up January. I mean, not just me, but like it would be like, oh, January was so hyped up, and I was like, I mean, like, all I gotta say is we just had the most historic Gulf Coast snowstorm in like history. I mean, like how much like we had two southern snowstorms. We had two southern snowstorms. We had a mid-Atlantic snowstorm, and we had a northeast snowstorm. I mean, like it's like, listen, you're not going to guarantee every setup. it was calling for it for the eastern U.S. to have really good potential to see snow, and that's what I was calling for, and that's what happened. Um, did I think maybe there was a chance that Northeast would be able to get at least one more snowstorm out of this? Versus really only one. We had a lot of light snow events. We had a lot of light snow events and one significant storm for the Northeast. So listen, it was calling anytime you're gonna have a pattern with Arctic air consistently in place. You gotta be able to say that there's going to be a chance for cold and snow. There was. We just had more suppressed setups. These are not the same. These are not the same setups here going, especially once we get to next week here. So as we transition to next week with this setup here, you're going to be able to dig this upper level energy here. You drop your trough in, and depending on this is why I'm saying, look how messy this is. This is stuff for models to resolve. If this is coming together, your ceiling in your p-type map is going to be crazy. You're probably still seeing some ridiculous totals, like what 1 to 2 feet. I don't know, just because of like duration. Like you're seeing some like really stretched out like freaking runs. What was it? Probably something crazy, right? Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely. 2 feet. Give me the what was the 3-day 10 to 1? That's not even Kachera. Look at that. Yeah. So Euro probably drove some people crazy tonight. New York City losing their freaking minds. Um, but yeah, just like so, like even though it was the P-type map was a mess, like there is some real potential ceiling with this because, like I said, the chance now, if you're able with the way we're going to be able to thermally drive these events, the thermal gradient here, this is what gets me excited about this one. That you're going to have really now we're going to have Arctic air in place probably at this point next week. Arctic air in place, right? Especially over New England. And then now, big old Atlantic, Gulf of Mexico ridge, right? This, right? Your ridge here in the Gulf and in the Atlantic, driving up moisture here. And why is everybody talking about the WPC? I guess I'll have to look at this. Um, I will look at it, Joe. Yes. And you're driving up. Listen, I have not seen the WPC. Joe, you know what? It is. Hey, clap it up for Joe, everybody. It is great to see you as well again, Joe. I hope you are having a fantastic Tuesday night here, and I hope you have a great Wednesday tomorrow. You are going to kill it tomorrow with whatever you got going on, my man. Here on Wednesday, next week we're looking at Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's kind of the time frame here. I'm telling you, this was the big prize. That even listen, there could be like a 6 to 12 inch snowstorm here for like Boston, Worcester, Albany, and New York City could see 3 to 6 inches this weekend as well. This is I'm telling you, this is the big prize. Mid Atlantic, Northeast. I wouldn't favor southern places yet, although it's possible. Some of these regions are possible here in the South. I will admit that. I won't give you the kissy face back, Joe, but I'm telling you, you're gonna whatever you got going on tomorrow, you're gonna kill it. Trust your gut, believe it. There's motivational Brady for you guys right there. Anytime you need a motivational message, I got you. Hit me up, and I promise I can try to make you feel better. Do my best. Whatever you got going on in your life, you can come in here, separate yourself from that, enjoy the weather, and I can give you some motivational Brady as well. Maybe make fun of you at the same time if that's okay. But I'm telling you, I'm not. I wouldn't just me. I really don't like to go out on a limb this far out. I like to be sure of myself when I'm not. I'm pretty damn confident. Someone's getting a big snowstorm here. This thing's coming. This thing's coming. Mid-Atlantic, Northeast. This thing's coming. I would favor, again, I'll continue to stay with it. Northern Mid-Atlantic, I would say. Again, for me, I had some questions. Northern Mid-Atlantic. To me, Northern Mid-Atlantic is like To me, I view more Pennsylvania as Northeast. I view more Jersey as Northeast. So if you really want to break it down, just for me personally, that's just how I view it. Um, to me, this is like northern Mid Atlantic. To me, like right here, this is like heart of the Mid Atlantic, and then I view Virginia kind of as like southern Mid Atlantic. And then once you get like Norfolk, like south, you find whatever borderline Mid Atlantic south kind of. Mid Atlantic's a smaller region for me. If you put Philly into the Mid Atlantic, fine, whatever. But I really think there is right in here, and I would favor north for now. I think there is some significant. I just drew it out, Jack. I would say DC is more heart of the Mid Atlantic in my opinion. So I would favor north of DC for now, but I wouldn't. I'm not super confident in that yet. And here's another thing why this also some of these p-type maps can be deceiving. If you have a more organized system, you're going to have a more extensive precip shield. Here's the thing with this setup, I would favor this. That this would be northeast here on this run. Look at your confluence here. Look at your confluence. This thing is way north here. There's nothing preventing this thing to an extent. Remember, you still have right. You still have your high pressure in place. Remember, so it's this thing can't this thing's not going to be able to just bulge its way on through. But you can see you have a stronger high pressure in place now at this point. But look at the confluence from the previous system. There's nothing really holding this thing back from being able to consolidate, further north. At least just generally specific on this run, but just in general too. Now some models are pressing a little bit more. That's why you see a little bit more suppressed solution. But in general, especially if you organize, you see a little bit more stream interaction between these two pieces here. That's going to allow for a more expansive precip shield as well. So this isn't necessarily tied to just the Mid-Atlantic or Northeast quite yet. Okay, but this is definitely one of those like we can call it. I can call this a week out and be like there's easy 6+ potential with this easy. There's 12. There's double digit. I can say I can easily say with this week out, there's easily 6 to 10+ inch potential with this, in my opinion. For a week out too, I'm telling that's a bold freaking call right there. Like I would be shocked for whoever gets this does not see that 6 to 10+. Like not specifically, just like a general idea. I don't want you to take it and be like, there's a 6 to 10 inch snowstorm coming. That's not how I want you to view it. I want you to view it as like 6+, like 10+ potential, like separately kind of. I'll split the difference. This was a storm that I'll keep the one so it doesn't get misconstrued. And thoughts don't get confused. I would say there is some definite 8+ potential with this storm. It's a week out, but it's coming. Train tracks are setting themselves up. Upper level energy gets dumped over the western U.S. Thing drops in, organizes, digs, pulls in all that moisture, and it meets that cold air later. And again, that's just like early. Like, could this be a 2-foot snowstorm? Sure, I guess. But I have nothing. There is nothing for me a week out for. There's no reason for me to either to be like, oh, it's definitely. Man, there's like so much crap that changed, even with this. So like I can only go out so far on a limb. Could this be a 1 to 2 foot storm? Sure, but I don't have it. There's not enough for me to be like, yeah, I'm pretty confident to be able to say that. And if I'm not confident in being able to say something, then I'm either going to clearly let you know, or I'm just not going to say it. That's pretty much. Does DC have that potential? Theoretically, but again, I would favor I would favor north of DC for now with this. And then the GFS, you can see a little bit more suppressed. But even then, if you organize your upper level energy, this is something. The GFS also with this, GFS will smooth out vorticity during this time. Lower resolution, a little bit of a progressive bias, but it's going to smooth out the vorticity a little bit more. Not be able to organize this quite as efficiently, likely as it should be able to. So not surprising if you do see some more suppressed GFS runs and every once in a while an overamped GFS run as well. It's a little bit more suppressed with the confluence, but even then, it's if you're able to consolidate some upper level energy, the GFS friggin' strings us out from the Pacific. So don't look into that, too much. Kind of splits it into more two than one as well. And we don't need the Valentine's Day sponsorship there. Canadian, I did not peep that. Let's take a look. Yes, we will look at the WPC. Everybody's talking about the WPC, so yes, we will look at that after. Canadian, again, general similar idea. It's a little bit different actually with the overall general, but general idea, you're driving up a system. That looks like a freaking beast of a, what did the Canadian do here? Good Lord. Canadian went all out. Canadian went all freaking out. It's theoretically possible here, and this is how it happened. This is why I'm saying it's like Tuesday, Wednesday. It could be two systems. It's theoretically possible, and that's why I didn't say like this is because you still. It depends on. So you're going to drop a lot. Here's the thing: you're going to drop a lot of upper level energy over here. You're going to drop a lot of upper over here in the Western U.S. and some of this may get strung out, and we'll see depending on exactly. Air conditioner is loud, but it gets split out, and then we'll see the potential here for if there's one or two systems with this, and whether or not that happens will certainly play a big factor on whether or not you're to see a bigger first storm or a bigger second storm if we were to see multiple next week. And that would play, again, obviously significant implications that would be there. Canadian with a beast. I mean, I'm telling you, if you're able to wrap up a storm here during this time frame, really, I mean, it really gets the polar vortex involved during that time. So that would be a behemoth of a system right there. The Canadian were ready. Doesn't that 700 does not organize the way 500 looks there. Not too late in my opinion, but yeah. So I'm sure we'll have some fun ensemble runs to look at here in a second. That's the general idea. That's why I'm not saying any of these are too far. I'm not going to go out. I don't need to go on a limb and say 1 to 2 feet of snow is going to happen like the Euro. Yes, insane run the Euro was. No reason to. And then we'll look at the WPC, and then there's another actually GFS kind of showing it on this. And I'm gonna have another. I don't know about bold prediction or, I mean, for me, more confidently just a forecast. And actually, GFS picking up on the second storm as well with the Canadian. So you can see that if you do string it out, you might be able to get multiple. Jesus, just freaking storm. What is this snow? We gotta take a peep here. Jesus. Jesus. Look at that. Philly snowhole. I'm sure Philly would settle for 7 inches this February after everything that's happened over the past couple of years. That's bright. That's bright for my eyes to look at right there. Let me look at the. Does the Euro have a long range, another long range hit, or is that just? I don't think so. Oh, it was gonna. Euro was gonna have another long range hit there. Look at that. Mid Atlantic Northeast would have been. But the Euro's showing that a little bit. Showing that a little bit. Right here. And I think this is a lot of model. Once we get past the work week of next week, I think it's a lot of model noise. But let's look at the WPC. Let's take a peek here. WPC Snowfall. There we go. It's the day 7. Oh, there we go. Oh, this. Oof. There, can you see that? Hold on. Yeah, what's the day 6 of play? I think it's a. I don't know. I don't know what their day 8 would look like, but I mean, it's not crazy bull. It's a probability thing. 0.25 inches of liquid snow. That's 2.5 inches, 10 to 1. So, I mean, it's great. That's great odds. I wouldn't say this is crazy. I personally favor this a little bit further north, but always solid to have the National Weather Service see the potential that far out too. Days 4 through 7. Do we have an accumulation thing? No, nothing. All right, well, it's cool to look at. Get a general idea. Okay. Here's what I was going to talk about next. And I can go to X. Hit that like on YouTube as a reminder if you haven't already. A little shameless plug there, but search up Japan as well. That's what we're going to talk about right here. EPS. Yeah, we'll look at. Yeah, we're going to look at all the ensembles in a second. First, we have another storm to talk about as well. Brady, what other storm? It's a hypothetical that I think is going to happen down the line. So notice I typed this in. You see Japan snowstorm. You're like, okay, how does this have any impact? What does Japan have to do at all? I guess I could have gone to tidbits. What does this have to do at all? You see that though? That massive, massive. So they get sea enhanced snow out there. They have sea effect snow out there. So that's their special treatment. But as you can see, very strong low pressure system out there. 970 whatever. I'll like this guy's tweet to give him some credit. Hopefully he's not a criminal or something. But I have no idea who he is. But just give him some love for the tweet. Shout out Crimmy. Strong loop-de-loop of a snowstorm out there. All right, what does this have to do? Well, oftentimes the East Asia weather, especially Northeast Asia and specifically in Japan, is oftentimes connected, typically about 10 to 15, about 12 to about 2 weeks roughly. I'm not going to say specifically, but about 2 weeks oftentimes. We often see that that show up in some way or form in the eastern U.S. and specifically the northeast U.S. As well. And so when I look at this, I see immediately, along with some suggestions here in the guidance as well, that this is like it's a disruption of the flow, kind of something that sets up a new variation for after. And you can kind of see that here on the euro. You see a big dig in the jet stream, something that really throws a wrench in the pattern. Not like, change it completely, just like at that dynamic of a system, it speaks for itself, right? When you're able to get that dynamic of a system. So you can see that the blue in the trough speaks for itself. So somewhere, I would say around the 15th to 20th, maybe somewhere around there over the next around a couple weeks from now, I would keep an eye on for there being a big storm, very strong low pressure system. It wouldn't guarantee you. It's not guaranteed to be an all snow event for everybody. I couldn't tell you. I don't. There's not even really solid model support. Like it's it'd be it's like looking at the long range fantasies, basically 300 hours out. So I don't have anything to supportive enough to be like this is definitely coming. But I would say there's a really good shot of there being like this is something that could like produce a blizzard, like something that very well. And again, who would I favor with this? Favor the northeastern part of the country, same areas, specifically the northeast. I would favor. So that's what I look at with upcoming here, and this would again be around mid-February, a couple weeks from now, and that's something I think I should bring up too. I think there's a good potential, and again, if I didn't think it was worth mentioning, I wouldn't mention it, but I think there is definitely potential for some sort of strong dynamic low pressure system. And anytime you get a strong dynamic system in the wintertime in February, especially associated with the cold air we are going to have on tap, immediately, those red flags start to go off, or green flags, depending on how you view it. But immediately, those bells start going off, and that's something to keep an eye on down the line here. It started I was like, and then finally, it clicked. Later today, you posted about it last night. And I just kept seeing more posts about the 4 feet record breaking, and I was like, oh, that's should have mentioned that last night as well. You know, there is that East Asia connection that is very prevalent. Same exit latitude region that we deal with here. Again, we're on an exit latitude region. This part of the country, this is where storms exit. And that's where the magic happens. My mic, hold up. How's my mic now? Is it fine now? We good now? Did I have a problem? I think we're chilling now. All right. I'm gonna assume we're okay. So I'm gonna look at the ensembles here. Look at peep the ensemble. Okay. Let's peep the ensembles. Better agreement for a Saturday, Sunday, and then there's that Sunday. Oh, yes, gorgeous, gorgeous look there. Look at that, beautiful. Classic setup for here. Gorgeous, gorgeous look there. Cold air, warm air. Gorgeous, 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 gorgeous setup there for the Midwest and Northeast. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Yes, for my Midwest folks too, you are definitely involved in this pattern for sure. All right, let's look at some of the panels here. We'll go to GFS first. Let's peep these. Take a look here. All right. There's Thursday. A lot of great, not superiorly great ensemble support there on the GFS. All right. There's Saturday, Sunday. Solid ensemble support there. Again, solid front end thump for at least many. New York City northward, solid opportunity for front end thump. Let's take a look. Oh, look at that. Look at that signal, man. Gorgeous. Gorgeous signal there. Notice the farther north members too, the stronger. And I'm guessing the GFS, yeah, comes in with the part 2 Just man. Oh, even hear this, that kind of that maybe that signal I'm talking about. Maybe they're picking up on it a little bit. Maybe they're picking up on it. Be about 12 to 16 days out is when I would look for. That'd be roughly when I would check. 12, 16 days out. Somewhere around there. Maybe 10 to, I'll say 10 to 15 days out. About 10, 15 days out. That's when I would look for. That's just hour 300. Let's take a look at the JEPs now. JEPs, definitely a stronger signal for Thursday. Canadian kind of worked its way, broke its card though. Medium range, it still does it right, but shorter range definitely has performed has struggled to perform. Canadian, solid snowstorm. Very good agreement too. Look at the Canadian agreement. All the ensemble members. Very solid agreement. Very solid agreement. New York City northward. Solid front end thump. Southern Sun New England gets real good snowstorm. And then kind of all over the place, but pretty good agreement as well. Again, not as many members, but very, very solid look there by the JEPs as well. And still loading out there. Let's look at the EPs here. I like looking at the panels. I like looking at all the different solutions. Gives you a general idea. I already kind of have a general idea of the 500 millibar set, and you can't really get that through the panels, sadly, but you can get a general idea. I like that. Euro's a good in between Canadian and GFS for totals and location. And then Euro's definitely got getting a little more amped with some of these for sure, but you can see not all these. You can see there's definitely some back and forth here on the guidance that these aren't all. You can see there's some spread here. These aren't all as far north as the operational for sure. In fact, many aren't. Many are definitely not as far north as the operational. There's a real good spread. That's the first 25. Remember, the Euro is the king with the EP in terms of ensembles, the Euro will always have a little bit of an edge. Just because you have 50 members, you have, more variance with the spread, more possible outcomes that it can highlight. Doesn't mean it's always better, but higher margin for them. You can see a little bit more in the solutions here on 26 through 50, but still a solid amount of spread here on these model runs. Really good thumping here for Southern and Central New England, especially. Slide back 1 through 25. Look at oh my lord! Look at the Euro. Freaking look at the signal. Look at the signal. Just gorgeous. So far out too. So far out, and it's nailing that. I mean, look at that. It's every member's got something. Every member has got something of the sort. There's not one member that doesn't. First 25. $26 to $50. 37. Oh, gorgeous. Freaking look at that. Beautiful. Deep cold air in place too with this system. Gorgeous. Gorgeous from the Euro. Let's have some fun now. Let's have some fun. Let's take a peep here at these snowfall maps. Put this here. Oh. 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 Kidding me? Look at that. Holy mother. if I mean, 18Z was actually even more. Could have been an adjustment for Thursday as well, some too, but mama, there go that man. I mean, gorgeous look there. Oh, Old Spice sponsorship. They gotta start paying me for these ads now. Let's see, how far is the Canadian? It's getting close. Look at that. Oh boy. Oh boy. Are you kidding me? That's still got 8. It's got 90 to run out. It's got 90 hours to run out. Look at that. Oh my. This is gonna be an insane Canadian run right here. Oh my god. This might be the biggest ensemble mean I've seen yet. This is a 12 to 20 inch mean. Oh my goodness. I couldn't even say, oh my god, or goodness. I mean, this is basically pencil into freaking Canada. New York City has a higher mean than northern Maine. 12 to 20 inches. Look at that. Incredible. DC, 10-inch mean too. What a gorgeous. I mean, gorgeous. This is probably going to be the highest. It puts a 20-inch mean, 19-inch mean, 18, 19-inch mean. Let's see what it does over my house. Oh, I can't see it. BGWX HQ here. Yeah, I mean, that's got to be a 19-inch mean over my house. 294 hours out. See, this thing's rolling out more. Oh. Are you kidding me? Foaming at the mouth right now. I mean, that's again, it's just supportive. It's supportive that it's gonna be busy action here, and a lot of it you can see through the 48-hour mean for this weekend. All right, we'll do 24. I mean, that's a real solid mean for this weekend. 24-hour snow mean. I mean, it's like a it's like a 3 to 7 inch mean from New York City to New England there. This is honestly exactly my thoughts right now for this weekend. Where we're favoring, maybe a little bit farther north, just a little. But like the general idea, like this general idea, maybe not exactly jackpot, but the general idea, yeah. Some of that might include sleet. I honestly I don't know 100%, but let's see here. Just look at that signal too. Canadians weaker with that signal as well. Look at that. Canadians got like a 2-inch 24-hour mean, 306 hours out. Yes. Absolutely ridiculous. 21-inch mean in Springfield. Unreal. Lake effect. It's absurd. Absolutely absurd. It's EPS mean. This is about to be crazy. Holy crap. Holy. Oh my god. It's the euro. I'm posting that guy. I don't give a crap. Sorry. When that comes out, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Y'all deserve to see that. That's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. It's an 18 to 24-inch mean here. That's an 18 to 24-inch mean. of 10-to-1 snowfall over the next 13, 12, 13 days, roughly. Listen, I haven't had Weather Bell forever. I've only had it for a few years now. I can't remember, like, excluding like an actual snowstorm hitting, like just like a long range, like drought. Last time I've seen this strong of a look here for snowfall wise. I mean, we had some impressive ensemble main runs in January, but do 24-hour for the EPS. Okay. There's Thursday. There's the weekend. I like that. I think that's a close, pretty close. I like that general idea for the weekend. Right as of right now. And, oh, look at the signal. You almost got to do like a 72-hour because of how spread out it is. More of a 4-day, to be honest. That's a 4-day signal right there. I'm like speechless. That's like, incredible. Sorry, I crap all the time for stuff, but you kind of just got to do what you got to do. That's an incredible. That is an incredible look there. I almost speechless. That's incredible. My man texted me during the stream. It's like I'm now. But I know. You got to look at the EPS though. You know when you get a text message and he knows you're on stream, and you got to look at the other. You know it's going to be pretty crazy. It certainly verifies. This thing loads out. We're loading that out. I mean, it's just an absurd. The panels too. Not that. Look at it, starting to nail. Oh. What I do for ensemble member 5. It's got this starting to get on this. I'm telling you, this might be that time frame I was talking about. 15th to 20th. 15th to 20th. I'm telling you. Listen, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I kind of almost want to be bookmarked on it. Be held accountable. So I might be wrong, but 15th to 20th. Somewhere in that time frame, I think there could be a pretty big snowstorm. Like a very strong system that obviously could produce a lot of snow. And I'm waiting for this thing to load out now. That was incredible. That was an incredible run. I mean, I don't think any of you can top that. Unfortunately, that was a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous run there. Oh, it's gonna do 2 feet. It's gonna do 2 feet. It's literally out here, right in here. It's gonna do 2 feet. Unbelievable. Don't mean nothing until it falls, but so you've seen enough of it and you know what you're looking at. It's ridiculously impressive. So yeah, so I'm telling you, that's storm's coming next week. First of all, I think there's going to be a very strong storm on around the 15th to 20th. There a very strong storm that comes up the East Coast, up the north, and impacts the Northeast. And then we have this weekend storm as well, along with Thursday. Busy times, busy times. Could be 4 to 5 storms over the next 15ish days or so. Like the thumbnail was not clickbait. Um, I don't ever go. Listen, I try to be a little bit more enticing on YouTube with some of that stuff now, but I'm not gonna ever full clickbait. Never. I'm not gonna draw a big hurricane and say 3 feet of snow unless there's actually a chance for 3 feet of snow. I'm not gonna say that. Man. And if I go over the top, that's when you guys need to be like, that's when you hold me accountable and let me know. I have a pretty good feel, but not perfect. Look at the GFS still. That's still an absurd ensemble mean there too. Don't get it twisted. 12 to 18-inch ensemble mean for the whole entire Northeast, like literally New York City northward. With 12 to 18-inch mean there. Mixing for what, Joseph? For Thursday or, I mean, if you're talking this weekend, then both Thursday and this weekend, then for the midweek storm. Next week or this week? Next week, I couldn't tell you specifically yet. I couldn't tell you. I would say there's less of a. I would say there's a much better chance for New York City to have an all snow event next week for sure. I'd be pretty confident in saying that. I know, but midweek next week or the yeah, okay, next week, yeah, um, yeah. Same again. Like I said, um, New York City has a much better chance to stay all snow next week, in my opinion, with like an all snow storm versus um, versus mixing. Yes, of course, Joseph. Here's our is Long Island in a good spot for all this next week? Long Island will definitely be in the action next week. Long Island will most certainly be in the action. say similar to New York City, probably. Same, similar thoughts for for next week. Um, Here's season to snow, season to date snowfall. Hey, it's a general estimate. It's not going to be exact. So right, it shows like 18, and I have 20. Right, so it's 2 inches off. Boohoo, very close. Um, There's your mid-Atlantic storm, and this is kind of your snow hole right now. Is right here, Long Island to uh, Philly to Jersey. That's kind of your current snow hole that needs to be filled in some. Hopefully, it will be filled in some. Oh yeah, it's very accurate. It's just that it's not going to be exact. So it will do a very good job. But as you can see, Mid Atlantic has cashed in very well. 8.9 Western Island. Yeah, what does it say? 7 or 8 out here, Western Long Island. So, uh, and then obviously the lake effect machine has been full effect. This is where the estimates will be a little bit off. This centimeters, 270. Who's seen 278 freaking inches? I gotta know. I gotta go there. Mount Washington. Who's seen 270? Where on this map? I mean, even here. I mean, 250 maybe. 278.7. Who has seen 300 inches of snow this year? I gotta know that. Right out here probably. So yeah, lake effect machine has been turning on like crazy. Well, I know where it's likely saying. I'd like to see some reports. I saw one person say 200 inches. That's the highest I've seen for a season to date so far. I've seen like a lot of like 150 out in 100 and 150 out in Buffalo area. I've been out here lake effect chase. Um, I always link that video to the description for people that are more interested in the personal side for me storm chasing. So, but yeah, here's the season to date snowfall. As you can see, North Jersey has done very great. North Jersey's done fantastic actually so far to date. I'd even estimate it's a little bit low in some of these. Remember the December snowstorm that happened. Um, the December snowstorm in near remember High Point had like a foot and a half out here at Pocono. So this area has done very well out here once you include the December system as well. Berkshires have done well. Southern Vermont has done pretty decent as well. Again, nothing crazy, but they've had lake effect streamers come in, and then they also make out some of the rain snow events as well. Maine not doing as hot, about average to below average out here in eastern Maine. So not being able to cash in so much, but again, still doing pretty decent. Ski country now starting to really make out well. A lot of these upslope events really starting to kick in and being able to produce for them out there. Boston had 2 storms, 2 significant storms, I would say. The ocean enhancement out there with that storm we had, the one I so close to forecasting correctly till I put my snow map to have the band. And then Boston also had another 4, I think 3.5 to 4. Boston had. So Boston is 15-ish inches, I think, on the year, roughly. Probably close to that, if I had to guess. So yeah, so that's the general season to date so far for what we got cooking. This is all about to change. You're going to see a lot more light. You're going to see a lot more, what do you call it? I don't know what that color is. Teal. Well, you're going to see a lot more teal and magenta. With the ensemble means being that high in New York City and not much for this weekend. For the next week, yeah, it's just it goes out 384 hours and runs 50 different members. So with the EPS, it runs all these different members, and it's tallies up the snowfall on the average. It's literally an average mean. It's not a forecast. It's like every single one of the members runs out. Average snowfall from all those members combined is what happens. So that's why it's very impressive, because that's the average of all the members. It's not a model run. That's not what it is. It's an average of all of the model runs combined of 50 plus. Oh, I mean, ridiculous. No, and why that's not what I'm saying, and that's not what the EPS shows either. We showed it earlier. That's what the EPS has for this weekend. No, again, no, that's not what I'm saying. The bulk likely thick and snow, your chance for an all snow event, like I said earlier, is more so next week. But like I said, you're probably going to get some snow tomorrow in New York City, and then you're also probably going to get some snow. I would this weekend as well. I would say as well. I think you have a little bit more. You definitely have more of a ceiling with this storm this weekend as well. I would lean against you being able to get 6+ inches of snow, but you're on the table to be able to get some accumulating snow this weekend. Right, there's the Canadian, or there's the Euro. There's the Canadian. And that look is obviously supportive for potential city snow. And there's the GFS look. So you will at least probably get some sort of accumulating snow out of this, even this weekend, if I had to guess. As I live tweet here. Yeah, that's my job, Joseph. That's my job. I break it down, even for Long Island. I break it down for New York City. Listen, I love breaking this down. I love being able, like, I like, not like emotional, but just an appreciation, appreciation for all you for even for the people that never comment anything and continue to come in here, just watch my content, um, watch my analysis, my breakdown. It just means the world. I put in so much time and energy and effort into this stuff, looking at this, a lot of the day, and to be able to have people that come in and curious about my thoughts. There was zero. There was if you told me I would be live streaming weather like 5 years ago, I would have never believed. I just would have never. I was like, would have never believed you. So I'm just I'm just grateful that we've been able to build this up like we have. Um, just great. It's crazy. It's crazy the amount of people we've had come in here and flood open the floodgates kind of over the past few years here. So it's been fantastic. NYC large snowstorm. You'll have some accumulating snow Thursday, then you'll go to a mix and into rain on Thursday, and then on Saturday, Sunday, maybe a better chance for more snow for accumulating snow, but then you will then you do have a shot likely to mix again then. And then next week is your best chance for a significant large New York City snowstorm. That's when your chances increase for that, Alex. Hey, really love it. Thank you so much, man, for your intelligent and driven with it. Yeah, I do have, with the platform now, there's a responsibility to be able to, better articulate my points. So I can't just, tweet for fun and, watch the likes go up and be like, oh, look at the fun. It's awesome. Look at all the people liking. It's like, honestly, I don't even do it for that either. I've explained that to people on numerous occasions. I could give two craps just in general for the good of my life of how many likes I get um, on my posts on YouTube. I love it because the more likes we get on YouTube, the more people watch, and the more better chance now that I can make money. So I'm sorry, I've gone corporate on YouTube. I apologize, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to commit. I'm going to commit to it this year. So that's what we're doing. Uh, but the goal is it's driven on YouTube is there's not a lot of people who do what I do. I have a very specific niche for people who love the weather, want the in-depth weather analysis, they want the breakdowns, and they want that information. There's a lot of people. I was one of those people, constantly searching. So I want to be a source of like good information, like in-depth analysis, and understand how the atmosphere is working, and be able to be a good middle ground, so to say. Pretty Twitter's a big hype, yeah, for sure. 7 feet of snow, snowstorm blitz. But we already tried. Another indicator, and not a lot of people do that too as well. There's a lot of, and it's not a lot of your guys' fault, but you just don't know any better. You're not exposed to like knowledge I that's available and so there's a lot of people that fall for the click and then like just don't know any better about the weather to be like this person doesn't know what they're talking about or they're BSing you. They just don't like. Yeah, I'm perfectly comfortable saying that because I know I don't do that. There's repercussions to my replies and my mention if I say a bunch of BS on X. And so basically, I put together thoughts, and it makes me have a good idea of what I'm going to say on stream. And the more I study, since I'm studying all these setups, I have a pretty good idea of what I'm going to talk about and how I'm going to get into each stream. I have no script. When I go into these streams, I don't have none. I have a general idea what I'm going to talk about. Everything's off the dome when I do these. I swear, everything is off the dome. Oh, but you're saying Twitter weather is a big deal. All they do is post no maps explanation to back up their thoughts. There's a lot of good people on X. Some are just kids that are learning too, and just excited and they post the snow maps. They're fun. The maps are fun to look at. I mean, that's what gets you into that. So I don't really get as frustrated with those as I do anymore. Just I'm a person who likes to look at all angles of something, and not try to view it as very black and white. So I try to take all perspectives and account for that. And kid once, and I wasn't perfect. I was once a young teenager. Um, I wasn't going on Twitter and letting my every thought out like a lot of people do. I really listen. Some of you need to have some close friends. I'll say if I'm gonna get an opinion, you could use some close friends to be able to let off some of those thoughts versus putting it out into social media. But a lot of people are just kids posting this stuff. You got to remember too. The adults, I can't defend them as much, but it's their choice. It's their page. It's our job too to be able to sniff through that stuff. You should be able. You have to develop a keen sense of awareness. Um, the person who falls for it, is just as much of a fool as the person who tricked you into it. So that's something to remember. Right? Adam and Eve are both as much as at fault for for what happened. Um, you got to take responsibility for your actions. Sorry, I didn't mean to get religious. Sorry, it's just an example. It was not a. Do not take it. Do not take it personal. Don't worry. Very, very pro Christian, pro whatever religion you are. Just happy for you. Okay, today's day and age, you got to be careful. But just an example, a metaphor. You got to take it. I'm very big on trying to take responsibility for actions. That's why I like doing the snow map grades, because every time after I make a snow map, a lot of people just post it and then forget about it, especially if they do bad. For me, it's like, no, I got to own up to it after I do it. Once I make that snow map, it's out there. Sometimes I'll make a second one, most of the time not, and I got to own up to what I did. And that's what motivates me to try to make the best snow map I can. Because I know I'm going to be grading myself, regardless if I were to release the grade to you. I'm going to hold myself accountable for that stuff, because that's how you get better. And I love this stuff as well. And for me, anything I'm passionate about, I want to get better at, because it's important to me. Anything that's really important to me and I care about, I want to be the at least very, very good, if not the best at what I'm doing. And so that's kind of my goal on here, is try to be the best source of information for y'all, and entertain as well a little bit, appreciation for the weather and the in-depth analysis that's required, to kind of understand a lot of this stuff uh, that goes on. Remember, the models are forecast; they're not forecasts; they're tools. So I have to utilize them as best as I can, and the real analysis information available as well. But so a little bit more of a fun tweet. I mean, it's ridiculous, so I can't. Lord me cry. Mercy, the takeaway. But I will also put in this tweet, what's the actual takeaway? So some people will read this and all they'll see is, oh, look at that, posted an ensemble snow map. But I'm going to tell you what's the takeaway. We're already tracking the storms, but just another indicator that February, but just another example. I'll throw in example of an indicator. Post and in but just another example of an indicator that February is about to be very active and provide a good shot to make snow lovers happy. As always, no guarantees. Right? These are my actual thoughts. I literally talk out, basically. It's telling you just the same way I described. A lot of people, like, they assume too much with my posts. A lot of times assume way too much, and I'm very literal oftentimes. I'm not literally a lot of times people, like, think cryptic. No, no. I had a thought come to my head, and I'm posting that thought on what I think, and I post analysis pretty much for 80, 90% of my thoughts are analysis stuff and a little bit of lighthearted fun and sometimes hype up fun, like, like LFG, we got a snowstorm. That's basically it. To be quite honest, I just don't like the people who post the colorful snow maps aren't intelligent. They're just like snow thirsty. I mean, look, I don't love it. I mean, because a lot of times I have to explain, what you saw. You shouldn't be worried about too much. But again, you got to. A lot of these people are just kids learning. You got to remember. It's not like I love it either, but uh, it's a lot of times kids learning, and again, I think some responsibility has to fall on yourself to be able to decipher what information is good. Just like when you have to decide, like um, who to vote for, who am I going to get to, come fix this at the house, or who am I going to get to, whenever you're searching out something, that you're trying to do, it's your job to be able to vet it and figure out, is this good? Is this bad? It's like that's something that needs to be taught more in schools now, upcoming with social media and everything, how to vet sources and how to be able, especially current with all the, sports, fake accounts and all that stuff, whether, the parody accounts, like there needs to be like courses on this stuff that for kids to learn and young growing up too, because a lot of my people, my followers are under 18 and in high school. A lot of them, a lot of you, a lot of some of you right now in here are. So like, it's like you need to be able to retain this information in on like just like common knowledge on how to vet sources and be able to decipher and take in information. In other words, like have a feel is the layman's term way to describe that. As we have another sponsorship on the music, and so that's very important. It's very important in weather as well. You got to know. Ooh, that's a lot of people. They want to know what are the best sources. What are the best sources of weather to take in for weather knowledge? And so I try to pride myself on being one of those. That you can come in and you're going to get somewhat good, reliable information. More importantly, really good analysis of and breaking down and understanding the meteorology and the science. And that's ultimately what gets me very excited. And the maps are kind of just a bonus. Do you think there's a limit to how far north the midweek storm goes? Yes. This is not going to. It's not going to be next week. You're talking about. I'm just going to keep calling it next week. Next week's storm will not. Oh crap! How much battery got left? All right, wrap it up in a little bit. But there is a limit. You can only. It's not going to pull so far north. This is going to be favored for, again, Mid Atlantic Northeast, and I would say more specifically Northern Mid Atlantic and Northeast is where I would favor right now. So yeah, do we have any final questions here? Any final questions before my Mac says bye bye? We got. Appreciate everybody coming in here. Been a blast breaking this down. We didn't have a crazy amount of people, but I thought maybe we would have a good amount. Um, there was a lot to talk about. Looks very extremely exciting. Haven't, but we're gonna be pretty busy here streaming. We'll most likely, very likely, stream tomorrow night as well. So let's look at those panels for panels. I love the panels. Fun to look at. Man, give me 5. Please give me 5. Oh, 18. No, I changed them 18. 18 just put down 30 inches. freaking cursor. There we go. 18. Oh, yeah, 5 too was gorgeous, but give me that. They're gonna give me no. Right here. Was it 18? I thought it was. Hold up. Glitchy. There we go. There we go. Yeah, I mean, just even the long range. I mean, geez, just a ton of freaking hits. Some absolute bombs in the long range too, man. Bombs. Man, fun times. That's the craziest over the past few years. I don't think I've seen a crazier EPS run than that. Remember that. You'll remember this run for a while. That freaking run right there. On that note, that is where we leave it. We'll likely go live tomorrow night, so be on the lookout. I appreciate everybody coming in. Hit that like on your way out if you haven't already. It's very greatly appreciated. And if you're new, consider subscribing. We break down live stream. We do it live. We post videos. I'm trying to do a little bit more community posts as well. Basically, copy the tweets for the people that don't follow me on Twitter. So all the support is appreciated. I can't thank you guys enough for what we're building here. It's awesome. So love you all, and until next time. Peace.